Hello, my dear students. Welcome to a new episode of biology. Today we will talk about chromosomes and meiosis. Our key concept is gametes have half the number of chromosomes that the body cells have. So the gamete cells have the number of chromosomes that your body cells have. We have three main ideas. Number one, you have body cells and gametes, and we will study both of them. Number two, your cells have autosomes and sex chromosomes, and we will study each one of them also. Number three, your body cells are diploid, but gametes are haploid. So let's start. You have body cells and gametes. You have many types of specialized cells in your body. Yes, the brain cells, the heart cells, even your muscle cells, also the skin cells. These are of the many different types of cells that you have in your body. But they can be divided into two major groups. Number one, somatic cells, and number two, germ cells. Somatic cells and germ cells. Let's see. Somatic cells also are called body cells. Somatic cells are called body cells, make up most of your body tissues and organs. So somatic cells, which are called also body cells, it makes up most of your body tissues and organs. For example, your spleen, kidneys, and eyeballs are made entirely of body cells. The DNA in your body cells is not passed on to your children. The DNA in your body cells is not the one that is passed on to your children. Then germ cells. Germ cells, in contrast, are cells in your reproductive organs, the ovaries and the testes, the ovaries in the females and the testes in males that develop into gametes. So the germ cells, these are the cells in the reproductive organs which develop into gametes. Gametes are sex cells which are ova or eggs in female and the spermatozoa or sperm cells in the male. The DNA in your gametes in these cells can be passed on to your children. Each species has a characteristic number of chromosomes per cell. Each species has a characteristic number of chromosomes per cell. This number is typically given for body cells, not for gametes. Keep this in your mind. This is important. The number of chromosomes is typically given for body cells and not for gametes. Chromosome number does not seem to be related to the complexity of the organism. Chromosome number does not seem to be related to the complexity of an organism. So do not think about that. Being humans, we are the most complicated organisms, so we have the highest number of chromosomes. No, let's see. For example, yeast. You know the yeast? For example, yeast have 32 chromosomes, which come in 16 pairs. Yeast have 32 chromosomes, which come in 16 pairs. But the fruit flies, which are commonly used in genetic experiments, have 8 chromosomes, which come in 4 pairs. This is the fruit fly. Can you imagine that it has a fewer number of chromosomes than the yeast, which is microscopic? Again, let's see. A fern. This is a plant named fern, as you can see from the picture. A fern holds the record for the most chromosomes, more than 1,200 chromosomes. Can you imagine? This is in a plant. While each of your body cells contains a set of 46 chromosomes, which come in 23 pairs only. So again, chromosome number does not seem to be related to the complexity of an organism, as we discussed. These cells are genetically identical to each other unless mutations have occurred. So these cells, or the cells of the body, they are genetically identical. They have the same number of chromosomes. They are identical to each other in the number of chromosomes unless mutations have occurred. These are the changes due to the environment. As you have learned, cells within an organism differ from one another because different genes are expressed, not because they have different genes. As you have learned again, cells within an organism differ from one another because different genes are expressed, not because they have different genes. These are the different types of cells in your body. They are different because different genes are expressed, not they differ in the number of genes. Suppose that you had 23 pairs of gloves. You would have a total of 46 gloves that you could divide into two sets, 23 right and 23 left. Similarly, your body cells have 23 pairs of chromosomes for a total of 46 that can be divided into two sets, 23 from your mother and 23 from your father. Just as you see both gloves when it's cold outside, when you use both gloves when it's cold outside, your cells also use both the sets of chromosomes to function properly. This is in the same way. Together, each pair of chromosomes is referred to as a homologous pair. Homologous pair. Homologous pair. Each pair of chromosomes is referred to as a homologous pair. The term homologous, the word homologous itself means having the same structure. The word or the term homologous means having the same structure. Homologous chromosomes are two chromosomes, one inherited from the mother and the other inherited from the father, that have the same length and general appearance. So the word general chromosome is referred to each pair of chromosomes, one inherited from the father while the other is inherited from the mother, and they both have the same length and general appearance. More importantly, these chromosomes have copies of the same genes, although the two copies may differ. These chromosomes have copies of the same genes, although the two copies may differ. For example, if you have a gene that influences blood cholesterol levels on chromosome 8, you will have one copy from your mother while the other copy from your father. It is possible that one of these copies is associated with high cholesterol levels, while the other is associated with low cholesterol levels. So the homologous chromosomes have copies of the same genes, although they may differ. So they control the same trait, for example, but one of them has the higher control, while the other has the less level to control this trait. For convenience, scientists have assigned a number of each pair to each pair of homologous chromosomes, ordered from largest to smallest, as you can see in this picture. The largest pair of chromosomes is number 1. This is the largest one. Then the next largest pair is 2, and so forth, till we reach 22, as you can see. From 1 to 3 till 22, and here this is the 23rd pair of chromosomes. Collectively, chromosome pairs 1 through 22 make up your autosomes, chromosomes that contain the genes for characteristics not directly related to the sex of the organism. So again, chromosome pairs from 1 through 22 make up your autosomes. These are the chromosomes of your body cells. The chromosomes that contain genes for characteristics not related to the sex of the organism. But what about the 23rd chromosome pair? Most sexually reproducing species also have sex chromosomes. This is the second type of chromosomes that directly control the development of sexual characteristics. Like what? Humans have two very different sex chromosomes, which are X and Y. How the sex is determined, this varies by species. In mammals, including humans, we belong to a group named mammals. Yes, an organism's sex is determined by XY system. The organism's sex is determined by the XY system. An organism with two X chromosomes is female, while an organism with one X chromosome and one Y chromosome, this is a male. Sex chromosomes make up your 23rd pair of chromosomes. So we already have the complete set of 46 chromosomes. Although the X and Y chromosomes pair with each other, they are not homologous. Let's see how they are not homologous. The X chromosome is the larger sex chromosome and contains numerous genes, including many that are unrelated to sexual characteristics. Can you imagine this? The X chromosome is the larger sex chromosome, as you can see from this picture, and it contains numerous genes, including many that are unrelated to sexual characteristics. But the Y chromosome is the sex chromosome that contains genes that direct the development of the tests and other male traits, like growing beard and mustaches, for example. The Y chromosome is the smallest chromosome and carries the fewest genes. Then your body cells are diploid while gametes are haploid. Sexual reproduction involves the fusion of two gametes, resulting in offspring that are a genetic mixture of both parents. These offspring are genetically unique because this is a mixture of both parents. The actual fusion of an egg and a sperm cell is called fertilization. The process of fertilization is the fusion of an egg and a sperm cell. When fertilization takes place, the nuclei of the egg and the sperm cell fuses together to form one nucleus. Yes, for sure. This new nucleus must have the correct number of chromosomes for a healthy new organism to develop. For example, in humans, the new nucleus must have 40 sex chromosomes or the 23 pairs of chromosomes. Therefore, both the egg and the sperm cell need only half the usual number of chromosomes, one chromosome from each homologous pair. So the sperm cell will have 23 chromosomes while the egg have the other 23 chromosomes. Diploid and haploid cells. Let's talk about them. Diploid cells have two copies of each chromosome. As you can see, it have two copies of each chromosome, one copy from the mother and one from the father. Body cells are diploid. Diploid abbreviated or represented as 2N, while haploid cells have only one copy of each chromosome, like gametes or sex cells. Gametes are haploid and represented by the letter N. So let's talk about diploid cells. Body cells and gametes have different numbers of chromosomes. Your body cells are diploid. The word diploid means that a cell has two copies of each chromosome, one copy from the mother and one copy from the father. Diploid cells can be represented as 2N. In humans, for example, the diploid chromosome number is 46. While the haploid cells, gametes, are not diploid cells. They are haploid, represented as N. Haploid means that cells has only one copy of each chromosome. That a cell has only one copy of each chromosome. Each human egg or sperm cell has 22 autosomes. These are the chromosomes that are not related to the sex of the organism, and one sex chromosome. Each human egg or sperm, each one of them, of both the egg or the sperm, each one has 23 autosomes, 22 autosomes, and one sex chromosome. In the egg, the sex chromosome is always an X chromosome, yes, for sure. But in the sperm cell, the sex chromosome can be an X chromosome or a Y chromosome. Maintaining the correct number of chromosomes is important to the survival of the organisms, yes. So the correct number of chromosomes must be maintained, must be protected for the survival of all organisms. Typically, a change in chromosome number is harmful. However, increasing the number of sets of chromosomes can, on occasion, give rise to a new species. Like what? The fertilization of non-haploid gametes. Non-haploid gametes means diploid, has played an important role in plant evolution by rapidly making a new species with more than two sets of chromosomes. So the fertilization of a non-haploid gametes, this is a case where the number of sets of chromosomes increased and gave rise to a new species. This is for plants. The fertilization of non-haploid gametes has played an important role in plant evolution by rapidly making a new species with more than two sets of chromosomes. For example, some plants have 4 copies of each chromosome, a condition called the tetraploidy. Tetraploidy, 4N. This type of event has occurred in many groups of plants, but it is very rare in animals. Then we move to meiosis. Germ cells in your reproductive organs undergo the process of meiosis to form gametes. This is to reduce the number of chromosomes. Meiosis is a form of nuclear division that divides a diploid cell into haploid cell. It reduces or divides the number of chromosomes to turn the cell from a diploid one to a haploid cell. Meiosis is essential for sexual reproduction, yes, because meiosis leads to the formation of sex cells, the eggs and the sperm cells. So let's compare mitosis and meiosis. We already studied the mitosis before. We said that we studied that mitosis produces genetically identical cells because they are like copies of the parents. Here the chromosomes, they are copied, then the copies, each chromosome, two sister chromatids are separated, as you can see in the resulting in the daughter cells. Then it results in diploid cells. This is mitosis. While meiosis produces genetically unique cells, yes, because it divides the number of chromosomes. And meiosis results in haploid cells. But in mitosis, it takes place throughout an organism's lifetime, all the time in all body cells. But meiosis takes place only at certain times in an organism's life cycle, at maturity or in mature stage. Mitosis also involved in asexual reproduction, but meiosis is involved in sexual reproduction. Let's talk about mitosis again. You have already learned about mitosis, another form of nuclear division. Recall that mitosis is a process that occurs in new body cells. It helps produce daughter cells that are genetically identical to the parent cells. In cells undergoing mitosis, DNA is copied once and it is divided once. This is a very important sentence. In cells undergoing mitosis, DNA is copied once and divided once. Both the parent cell and the daughter cell are diploid because this is the same copy. Mitosis is used for development, growth, and repair in all types of organisms. Mitosis is used for development, growth, and repair in all types of organisms. Mitosis also is used for reproduction in asexually reproducing eukaryotes, like the Hydra, for example. In contrast, meiosis occurs in germ cells only to produce gametes. This process is sometimes called meiosis, sometimes called reduction division, because it reduces a cell's chromosome number by half. In cells undergoing meiosis, DNA is copied once but divided twice. The DNA is copied once but divided twice. Meiosis makes genetically unique haploid cells from a diploid one. Meiosis makes genetically unique haploid cells from a diploid cell. These haploid cells then undergo more processing in the ovaries or the testes for finally forming mature gametes. And here we have reached the end of our period for today. Hope you enjoyed the period. Thank you guys. See you in the next one and goodbye.